Hello, this is Jeff, and this is another episode of Deskies. Woohoo! Uh, Today I'm going to be talking about my top 10 favorite Star Trek, the original series episodes. It was an idea that I'm sure it's been on a lot of other videos, but one of my friends from work, Alex, he wanted to do a video like that, and I thought it might be a nice companion piece. I'm going to include his channel in my description. Check it out. Hopefully I'll have the video up soon and we can compare and contrast. So my number 10 pick is the Doomsday Machine. It's basically Decker is the guest hero protagonist of the episode, and the Enterprise and his ship face off against a giant planet-eating machine. And it's kind of nice because there's kind of a callback to the episode in the Star Trek The Motion Picture, because Willard Deckard in that movie is the son of Decker in that episode. So if you ever want to watch the motion picture, keep that in mind. Although the motion picture is fairly boring. But, you know, it's like 3 hours of Starship close-ups, and, you know, if you're into that, it's not bad. My number 9 pick is the Balance of Terror, the one with the Romulans, basically, and it introduced kind of more strategy into Star Trek than had been shown. Star Trek has always been kind of a fun show, back in the 70s especially, but it kind of set a more serious tone in that episode, so it was pretty cool. My number 8 pick is A Monk Time. Basically the episode where Spock's horny and he has to go to Vulcan and get laid, and who wouldn't put that on one of their top lists? So, I mean, come on. My next pick is the classic Arena. That's the one where Kirk very, very, very slowly and humorously fights the Gorn on the planet, and he shows mercy to the creature. I like the episode, and it's kind of funny to watch, especially nowadays with how slow he was moving. So that's my next pick. Let's see. After that, number 6 is A Piece of the Action. A Piece of the Action was just a fun episode, and it got really to the heart of what Star Trek was, especially at that time, before it got a little more weighty with Next Generation. But it was just a nice kind of fun 20s gangster episode. It's one of those episodes I still think back fondly of, and it was one of the first episodes I watched as a kid, so yeah, it's definitely a fun one. So my number 5 pick is going to be The Cage, the original pilot for Star Trek, starring Jeffrey Hunter as Captain Pike. Now, Captain Pike, most of you might know as Bruce Greenwood's character in the Star Trek, directed by J.J. Abrams, and Star Trek Into Darkness. But he was the original captain of the Enterprise before William Shatner was even in Star Trek. It was Jeffrey Hunter as Pike. And Leonard Nimoy was in there too. He played Spock in there, but he was the first captain. It earns a higher spot in my book just because it's kind of an interesting historical piece, in addition to it still being fairly entertaining. It's just like almost a different Star Trek than what might have been. So, you know. And I guess I've read that Jeffrey Hunter's wasn't in the series and they replaced him with William Shatner, because Jeffrey Hunter was a fairly well-known actor at the time. He was in The Searchers with John Wayne, and he was in King of Kings. I don't remember that came out before Star Trek or after, but I read that his wife didn't want him to do Star Trek because it was beneath him, and that's why he didn't do it. So I guess it sucks for him. So my next pick on my list, number 4, is going to be I Mud. Again, this is just a really fun episode. Harry Mudd, it was his second appearance on the show. He was the only character and the only guest antagonist to appear on 2 episodes. And he was just kind of a fun smuggler. I almost wish they could have done more with him. They actually did do a episode of the animated series with him, and it was fun too. Anything with Harry Mudd basically was gold. So, number 3 on my list, Mirror Mirror. Sorry, Mirror Mirror. Yeah, that was basically the alternate dimension episode. It was really fun, bizarre, and every time I shave my beard or into a goatee, I always make reference to that episode that I'm the evil Jeff, because the Spock in the episode had the goatee, and that's how you knew they were evil, and they reference that a lot in other media. So if you ever notice the evil version of a character with a goatee, it's because of that episode. Number 2 on my list was probably my favorite as a kid, the Tribbles. Again, it was just kind of fun pulp, which is what Star Trek should have been. It's what it was in the 70s, and it was just kind of an entertaining episode, and it's hard not to like it, and the Tribbles were cute. So yeah. Number 1, and it's number 1 on a lot of fans' lists, is City on the Edge of Forever. And it was just a weighty episode, and even though Star Trek was fun, and a lot of the fun episodes get a high spot on my list, that episode just had a lot of depth to it, and it was an interesting science fiction episode, and it was kind of an interesting twist. Kirk went to the past, fell in love with a woman, but in order for history to pan out right, it kind of got into the butterfly effect, and the woman Kirk fell in love with in the past had to die in order for the Nazi Empire to fall. And if she didn't die, then the Nazis would have won World War II. And he had to watch the girl he loved die. And it was... William Shatner gets a lot of flack for his acting. He deserves it. And yes, even in this episode, it was soap opera quality. But it still carried a lot of depth to it. You know... And it's an episode, because of the science fiction tied to it as well, that really sticks out in my book. I do have a couple honorable mentions. I have 3 of them. Shore Leave and Spectre, basically for the same reasons, because they were fun episodes. And they were some of the more fun episodes of the show. Spectre gets a little bit of a nod in my book over Shore Leave, because Star Trek was always intended by Gene Roddenberry to be wagon trail in the stars. So it was kind of nice to see them kind of embrace, you know, the Western heritage that the show had, in addition to the sci-fi elements. And also the last one, to get an honorable mention, was, sorry, my voice is going, Space Seed. Space Seed, of course, introduced the character of Khan, who would later go on to get his own sequel arc in the movie Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. And they reintroduced the character in J.J. Abrams' Star Trek Into Darkness. So it's an interesting piece, especially if you're going to watch Star Trek II, which is a very good movie. You know, watch Space Seed first, and you'll kind of see where a lot of their history started. And you get kind of an idea where Khan's coming from. Makes him a little more of a sympathetic villain. So that's going to be my list of episodes. I hope to see, you know, Alex's list soon. Like I said, I'm going to include his channel down in my description. So check it out. Yeah. So this is going to be this episode of Deskies. I hope you enjoyed it. My top 10 episodes of Star Trek: The Original Series. Take care. Peace.